Hey there, Warriors faithful, let's talk about the Jonathan Kuminga saga and unpack why so many of us think the front office missed its window. Imagine it's January of 2024, the team is facing the Nuggets and Kuminga, still hungry to prove himself, ends up on the bench after a couple of defensive lapses. It wasn't just any night. It was the night Nikola Jokic banked in a miraculous half-court buzzer beater to steal the game. In that moment, the bandwidth for mistakes shrank to near zero. For a rookie still finding his footing, getting yanked felt like the culmination of months of frustration, a sign that the organization's trust in him was teetering. After all, when Steph Curry coughs up a turnover, the leash never tightens like that. But when Kuminga aired, the response was swift and stern, as if to say, "We need perfection from you, or you watch from the sidelines," what some might call tough love, others saw as a breaking point. Behind closed doors, whispers grew louder. He's losing faith in Coach Kerr. The narrative was absurd to some fans. Even amusing, how could a young player, barely 2 years into his career, publicly question one of the league's most decorated head coaches? If LeBron James or Russell Westbrook had done the same, the reaction might have been different. Those stars had earned the right through championship rings and long-established legacies. But for Kuminga, who was still an unproven commodity in the eyes of many, it looked like biting the hand that was trying to help him grow. Yet even in hindsight, you can see the logic. The Warriors had crafted a champion factory environment built around veteran leadership and a very specific culture of accountability. They expected younger players to adapt quickly or risk being left behind. Kuminga, with his raw athleticism and flashes of brilliance, was still too unrefined for that system. His game demanded more freedom, hundreds of additional minutes to make mistakes, learn, and develop instincts, but Golden State was in win-now mode. Unwilling to sacrifice a single season for the sake of a speculative future, they simply didn't have the roster flexibility to bench their stars and throw rookie minutes to a raw prospect. That's why January 2024 feels like the most glaring missed opportunity. At that point, Kuminga was arguably showing the best stretch of his early career: dynamic drives in the open paint, uncontestable one-on-one matchups, and a glimpse of a force that few defenders could handle. He was on the cusp of something special. Had another franchise snapped him up then, they would have acquired a high-potential wing on a rookie contract, with at least a year and a half to evaluate his fit before committing substantial money. Instead, the Warriors held on, hoping that loyalty and coaching genius would turn potential into consistency. But human nature has a way of defying the best-laid plans. The benching incident became a symbol of a tension that never fully healed. Kuminga's public grumblings, the sense that he felt undervalued, only fueled the divide. Other organizations might have slapped a suspension on a public outburst like that made an example of him. Golden State, though, opted for appeasement. He started the very next game, a gesture that revealed as much desperation as goodwill. It was as if management hoped that enough affirmation would fix the problem. It didn't. Fast forward to mid-season discussions, there were rumblings that Kuminga wasn't keen on re-upping with the Warriors if they didn't offer him a max extension. A familiar refrain, players saying one thing until the money lands on the table, but it underscored how thin goodwill had grown. So, why didn't Golden State pull the trigger earlier? Some point to the championship they eventually won, owning the narrative. They could say, "See, patience paid off." But winning a title doesn't erase the future cost calculus. By hanging on, they relegated themselves to a tougher trade market, where Kuminga's value reset with the storyline of a bruised relationship. And yes, there are always arguments about waiting until draft night, trading immediately, or simply holding until the deadline. But each timeline had its pitfalls. Draft night trades carry the risk of misjudging a player before seeing him handle NBA minutes. Deadline deals often involve premium assets for rental players with short windows. The January 2024 point was a rare sweet spot. He'd played enough to establish something meaningful without yet triggering big money. Now, as free agency looms and sign and trade figures filter out, the offers on the table look far less appealing. Teams know the Warriors are under pressure. They'll drive a harder bargain. All of this speaks to a broader organizational arrogance that occasionally seeps into high-performing teams. The belief that you can stitch together championship contending veterans with raw, unpolished youth and see both narratives flourish simultaneously has no precedent in league history. Sure, every champion needs that energetic rookie or second-year spark plug. Think Christian Bronze emerge in Denver, but those players usually fit neatly into defined energy or defensive roles. Kuminga was neither a pure energy guy nor a finish-to-way wing. He was something in between. And that ambiguity made him a square peg in a round hole. And here's where we circle back to the present. The Warriors have to decide, do they bring him back on a short-term, team-friendly deal, say a 1-year, $20 million contract and hope the relationship rekindles? Or do they look for sign-and-trade packages that, while suboptimal, at least free up a roster spot and collect future draft assets? From the whispers around the league, most of those trades would net role players like Keon Ellis or DeAnthony Melton solid, defensive-minded guards who can hit open shots and inject young legs. But that's exactly the point. The Warriors already have Jimmy Butler-type versatility and Draymond Green and Curry's gravity. What they need are complementary talents who thrive in defined roles, rather than roam the open floor in search of their next highlight. So, if you lean towards the sign and trade, you're betting on front office creativity, bundling smaller assets, maybe adding a pick, to land a player who fits the championship timeline without disrupting the core. If you bring Kuminga back on a cheap deal, you risk the same fit issues repeating, and you postpone the inevitable separation. Given the tenor of the conversations I've heard, the latter feels like too much work for too little return, and frankly, after doing battle alongside Steph and Draymond and pushing for every playoff minute, Kuminga deserves a situation where he's valued or at least given the leash to learn, without the weight of competing timelines crushing his growth. In the end, this won't just be about how smart the Warriors were or how clever the front office got. It will be about whether they recognize that developing young talent sometimes requires swallowing a season's worth of losses. And if they can't or won't make that sacrifice, then letting Kuminga go at his peak trade value back when the buzz was electric will stand out as one of the more uncharacteristic missteps in a franchise built on precision and timing. Whether we look back in regret or relief depends on what comes next: a shrewd deal that accelerates the next championship window, or a compromise that leaves everyone wondering what might have been. As the front office weighs its options in the weeks to come, the ripple effects of this Kuminga chapter will shape not only the immediate rotation, but also the long-term trajectory of the franchise. Picture the meetings behind closed doors at Chase Center, executives poring over cap projections, scouting reports, and mock trade constructs, trying to strike that delicate balance between short-term contending and sustainable growth. They know that the Warriors' identity is irrevocably tied to championship aspiration, but they also recognize that every season carries risks, injuries, unexpected dips in performance, and the ever-creeping grind that comes with age. What they hoped would be a seamless integration of a dynamic young wing has instead become a focal point of organizational self-reflection, forcing them to revisit assumptions about coaching leverage, developmental timelines, and the true cost of roster flexibility. On one level, it's easy to view this as a failure of foresight. Kuminga's combination of strength, speed, and natural finishing ability made him an attractive asset well before that fateful January stretch. Yet on another level, it underscores the challenge of managing elite veterans alongside burgeoning talent. The Warriors' blueprint has always leaned toward veteran savvy, complemented by role players who adhere to clear, defined responsibilities. Spot up shooters, defensive stoppers, energy guys who thrive within the system. Kuminga's game was too fluid for that mold. He demanded latitude to explore and adjust on the fly, to make mistakes in live action and refine his decision-making over time. That sort of freedom sits uncomfortably alongside a core led by two of the NBA's most precise technicians, whose every movement is calibrated within the rhythm of the motion offense and the principles of team defense. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Whispers are stirring in the NBA world as Sotto, the towering Filipino prospect, reportedly touches down in San Francisco, sparking a buzz that could shake the Golden State Warriors lineup. Standing at an imposing 7'3", Sotto's arrival hints at a potential game-changer for the Warriors, who have been on the lookout for a formidable presence in the paint to bolster their rebounding and defensive game. Though still a young player with much to prove at the highest level, the mere possibility of Sotto joining the Warriors roster has sent waves of excitement through fans and analysts alike. His height and wingspan suggest an ability to dominate the boards, an area where Golden State has occasionally struggled amidst fierce competition. At 2.1 meters tall, Sotto could provide the Warriors with that elusive physicality inside, grabbing rebounds, contesting shots, and creating second-chance opportunities on offense. Rumors suggest that the Warriors are eyeing Sotto as a developmental project, someone who can learn from seasoned veterans like Draymond Green and Kevin Looney while gradually earning minutes on the court. Given Golden State's reputation for nurturing young talent and integrating them into their system, Sotto's potential arrival is seen less as a quick fix and more as a strategic investment. For the future, the buzz surrounding Sotto isn't just about height. However, observers point to his mobility and skill set, which have evolved through international play and stints in the NBA G League. If he can translate that into the Warriors' fast-paced, versatile style of play, it might create new possibilities for matchups and rotations. Could Sotto be the next big thing in Golden State's frontcourt? While no official confirmation has been made, the mere presence of this rumor is enough to ignite imaginations and fuel speculation. Sotto's journey from the Philippines to the doorstep of an NBA powerhouse symbolizes more than just a player signing. It represents the global reach of basketball talent and the Warriors' openness to scouting beyond traditional borders. As the Warriors weigh their roster options heading into the new season, all eyes will be on whether this towering hopeful can turn whispers into reality. For now, fans can only watch and wonder, will Sotto become the rebounding giant the Warriors desperately need, or is this just another tantalizing rumor destined to fade away? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The buzz around San Francisco just got a little louder. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.